day, Crown Council members from Crown Council Live. We're so happy to be with you on this Thursday, the 5th of May. It's Cinco de Mayo. Hi, Spencer. How are you?
Great, Jack. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, good to see you. My name is Jack Hadley. I'm the content director at the Crown Council, and I'm substituting in for our Grand Poobah, Stuart Anderson, today, who is actually on another call with another event today at this exact same time. So I'm happy to be hosting today with my good friend and Crown Council all-knowing Spencer Chipping.
Yes, great to be here.
Good to see you this morning, Spencer. We have a really fun lineup today. We've got actually 3 guests coming in, and we've been planning this for all week and looking forward to talking to our 3 guests. So I think what we're going to do today, normally we do a bunch of housekeeping stuff in the beginning. The only thing I'm going to mention is that you can actually watch this in a number of places. We are streaming live on YouTube. We are also live on our website, and we're also live on Facebook. So if you're watching somewhere and you'd rather watch somewhere else, go to crowncouncil.com and you'll see that you can get on right there. So, and if you have any trouble getting on, just hit the chat bubble, because our team is watching the chat. Of course, they are always watching the chat, but especially watching it now. So if you have questions about where to join us, or if you have any questions for our guests, just hit that chat bubble and we'll make sure to get those questions answered for you. So, Spencer, we have a very special guest as our first guest. I'm going to ask our production team and our producer to bring in Dr. Ed White. And while Ed's coming in, I met Ed, gosh, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. He's a longtime Crown Council member. And I know you've had a lot of interactions as well, Spencer, with Ed. Ed is one of the true Crown Council rock stars, and his practice does so many amazing things, specifically, well, in many ways, but specifically with Smiles for Life. So, Ed, can you hear us?
I can. I get the video on. My apologies. There you go. Hi.
No worries. There you are.
So sharp, so handsome.
Always good to see you, Ed. I haven't actually seen you face to face for a few years, but it's so great to catch up.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate this. It's kind of new for me, so cut me some slack. See what happens.
Well, your lighting looks great and your camera looks great, and so we're just glad to have you here. And we recognize you're a super busy guy. We're not going to take a ton of your time, but we wanted you to come in and talk a little bit about Smiles for Life. And Spencer, you're maybe more familiar. I know that Dr. White and his team are bumping up against, I believe, the $600,000 mark in terms of funds raised for charities. So, Spencer, what's your experience been?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jack. And Ed, so good to have you here. For everybody tuning in, Ed and team they're going right up against just making history at surpassing the 600,000 mark this year in total giving to Smiles for Life. And so Ed, first, we just want to pause and say thank you for the ongoing support within Smiles for Life and what you and your team do to accomplish such awesome goals and accomplishments.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's just a privilege to be involved in this, and we've always embraced it. So thank you. I appreciate all that. Thanks.
Yeah. So Ed, talk to us, talk to those, think about those that are chiming in for the first time and listening about considering joining Smiles for Life, and those that are more tenured who have also been doing Smiles for Life for a few years or many years. Why does Dr. Ed White and your practice participate in Smiles for Life?
Yeah, We do it for a lot of reasons, but it kind of goes back to what Crown Council talks about in the culture of Crown Council as far as doing good. And we're in a small community of about 24,000 in our school district area, our drawing area. And we do a number of things here. Our community is mixed. We're mostly middle income, but there's a whole bunch of kids that are way below that middle income, and in low income. So it's always good to help them out. And now it makes you feel good. We give back we help them out every year. And now it's just part of our culture. We do this year round. We have the signs up. I've been lucky enough to get some plaques, a lot of plaques from you guys. Decorate with Smiles for Life plaques. So it's like everywhere. It's in the rooms, and it's just who we are. But that's why we do it. Makes we feel good, and it's fun to do good.
Oh, man.
I know. That reminds me, when you said that, Ed, about your community. One thing that I have heard about your practice specifically, and I think a lot of our other Crown Council members could benefit from getting a little bit of insight from you as to some people say that, oh, everybody that I know, every patient I have has been whitened. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But I think, as I remember, you're involved in other ways, like you do other kinds of events related to Smiles for Life. Is that right?
Yeah, we do different events. We use events. We use billboards a lot. We get rolling in the actual time period. We put the billboards up. We are active on soliciting our patients all the time. We get a significant number of new patients every year, so we're always hitting up them. But one of the ideas that we really liked, we did a few years ago before COVID, was called White Out Hunger. And what we did with White Out Hunger, we held a party, and we based it on the French party called Fête en Blanc, was party in white, event in white. So we went to a nearby community area, and we solicited the community to do gifts. So we had 500 people come and bring chandeliers dressed in white, and we had silent auctions. We had a big party. We had bands, and we had everybody was there, and so we raised about $40,000 that day, and we had a great time. And it doesn't just blend with my name being white, White Out Hunger, but because it works for everybody, because we're whitening people's smiles. So White Out Hunger, and then we had a great time. And that was probably the most fun, and we got not just raised that money that day, but more people heard about it and then called in to do the whitening. So that works well. We also hand out gift certificates. So we're going to hand out 18 gift certificates to the college marketing and admissions committee, because they had a killer year drawing in new students to local college. And I'm on that committee over there. So we're going to hand out the gift certificates with the anticipation of them handing out 2, 3, 4 more to their friends. So that's some of the stuff we do.
Man, Ed, I think that one of the things that our listeners can really learn from is that it's also generating new patients into your practice from all of the outreach that you have in the community. It's like what comes around goes around, and you keep doing good, but you're also generating new business from doing good.
We do. And we have the advantage of being in a small town. Some people might not see it that way, but when the school district hires new teachers or whatever, they put them on a bus and they drive them around E-Town, and they show them. They come up to the office and they say, "It's Dr. White's office. He does a lot of good stuff for the community." Then they go over to the school and they show them White Family Stadium. We own the stadium, so it's pretty cool.
That's way cool. Talk about community involvement. That is just
it's fun.
So good to get in.
Really.
Wow.
Well, Ed, we know. Oh, go ahead, Spencer. Sorry.
Ed, if we just want to ask another question for you, if you were to give our Crown Council members just some advice, some copy genius, and we're considering you, genius on this Smiles for Life platform. What would you share with those thinking about getting involved or kind of just dipping their toe into Smiles for Life and getting underway?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the genius thing. It's the first time I've categorized any area. I think the first thing you do is really to get the team together and to figure out and to explain what it's all about, but to figure out while you're doing it and to find an organization or and people you want to really help so that you're totally committed right from the very beginning and you got to dive in. And then figure out some events. It can be a small event like Fete and Blanc, but it's really about being who you are and part of your culture and giving back. And once everybody gets involved, it just goes by itself. It's like Jim Collins and the flywheel. It just keeps on going. And we do stuff every year. They expect it, but you just have to commit to it and make sure you have the right group to support and make sure everybody's on board. Yep. Okay.
So awesome.
That's great. Well, we really appreciate, we know you're a busy businessman, and we appreciate you taking, 10 minutes this morning to kind of help us and to help the other members of the Crown Council. We're always looking for those geniuses, as Spencer said, to give new and fresh ideas to the other members of the Crown Council. So thank you so much, Ed.
Once again, you're welcome. And I thank you for having me on. It's great. Appreciate it. You all have a good day.
Look forward to seeing you at the next annual event in Salt Lake City.
I'll be there. Well, I'll be there. Thanks, guys.
Right. Sounds good. Thanks, Ed.
Bye.
Yeah, he's out in Elizabethtown. Is it Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Man,
yeah, he mentioned.
So fun. He does some incredible things there. I want to go to one of his events, the white tablecloth event.
Yeah, it's funny that his last name is White.
I know.
How convenient.
So perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, I think we have Taylor in the wings. Taylor is I don't know what's Taylor's official title at Eagle U, Spencer?
Yeah, she Jack, she is the director of all of Eagle U, and I like that you mentioned that she's waiting in the wings. It's a perfect way to introduce Taylor. This last, 2 weeks ago, had the opportunity to have Taylor in our Crown Council office and strategize and talk all things Eagle U and Smiles for Life. Welcome, Taylor.
Thank you.
Hi, Taylor. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
You too.
I've only been to one Eagle University event, and I can't wait to come to the next one. Hint,
That's awesome. Okay, well, you're invited anytime. You're part of the family. Invitation's
okay.
open.
Maybe I think maybe a good way to start this. I know we're going to talk a little bit about mentoring and how that helps, but Taylor, why don't you take a minute or two, because a lot of Crown Council members, I'm not sure if they know. I mean, we're getting so many new Crown Council members all the time, and I don't know that they really understand what Eagle U is. Can you give us an overview first of what it is and what it's doing?
The best way I like to describe Eagle U, especially to Crown Council members, is if you love what you're experiencing from the Crown Council, especially from the annual event, we have translated that to something extremely similar for your students, for your high school and your college students. It's the same principles and fundamental strategies of success that we're teaching to youth. That's the easiest way I can describe it for this audience.
Great. I've heard Steve Anderson describe, or I don't know if I should say describe, but sometimes he uses this saying that it can give a 7-year, I think he said 7-year head start in career and in life for high school and college students, right?
Yes. And so that's, I know we're going to talk about mentoring, and this is a great way to lead into that. So we've noticed that so many high school and college students fall into this 7-year trap where they go through 4 years of college, they get into a career, they don't like it, and then they start all over going back to school to get a master's degree in something else because they never really knew what they were passionate about to begin with. And so through Eagle U, one of the big pillars that we're teaching is mentorship. And mentors are this key strategy and resource for our students, where they can go and shadow these mentors and figure out from the beginning, what am I passionate about? What am I good at? And what do I not like when I'm seeing, when I'm following mentors, in order to avoid that trap and find their passion and the career that ignites, everything up from their insides from the very beginning.
It's a great way to say it. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Spencer, there were a couple other things we wanted to make sure Taylor covered.
Absolutely. It hits home with me. I have a 16-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old daughter, and I've been talking to Taylor about getting them to Eagle U. And as we talk about mentors, this age group, they are like sponges. Right now in their lives, they're like sponges waiting for advice, needing a mentor, needing that head start, needing the drive. And who they are not listening to, speaking from experience, are their parents, right? And so sometimes they need to hear something similar, but from a different stage and presenter. And that comes from what I have seen in Eagle U to reinforce what is being taught.
Spencer, I'm glad you said that. So my husband has gotten to experience Eagle U through me the last couple of years, and he and I had a date night last week, and we were talking about Eagle U and mentorship, and he goes, I didn't go through Eagle U when I was your age, and I can only imagine how my life would have been different had I gone through and learned these things. He goes, I wanted to be a judge, not a judge. He goes, I wanted to be an attorney my entire life. I wanted to have a career in law. Come to find out, one of our family's cousins is a federal judge who lived 20 minutes down the road, but nobody ever taught me the importance of mentorship, and nobody ever taught me to go knock on his door, ask these questions, shadow him. He goes, had I had these Eagle U strategies and had I done that, how much further ahead would I be right now? Because I would have gotten a start so much earlier.
Yeah. Taylor, as far as talk a little bit about the specifics of Eagle U in terms of, it sounds like, because I know a lot of our listeners and viewers today think, oh, Eagle U, is this like a regular university? And I fly somewhere and I live there for 9 months of the year. And so tell us a little bit about the timeline, how long people are at the event and so forth.
So our students come in from all over the country. They fly by themselves. We pick them up from the airport and we take them for 5 full days on a university campus. They sleep in the dorms. We eat there, do everything there. And it's not a summer camp. I don't like to call it a summer camp. It is a retreat experience for your students. So they are having these incredible sessions and seminars and small group activities and discussions throughout the entire week. And then on the last day, we have our mentor roundtable, where after all this training and prep, they sit down with 60 different mentors from all different backgrounds and industries, and they get to interview them on what made them successful. And it is the perfect cherry on top of this wonderful week for these students to put into practice all these skills that they've learned.
The one time that I attended a few years ago, I was so impressed with, I think I arrived for the last day, and I spoke to the group, and then I was part of that roundtable. And I was so impressed that here's a whole bunch of, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids that, man, they were dressed neat, and they were bright-eyed, and they were aggressive in terms of shaking my hand and saying, tell us more about what you do, Mr. Hadley. And boy, just tremendous respect. You can't call it a summer camp, but wow, you must really transform how they feel about life and about their careers in such few number of days. It's amazing.
Well, I will tell you, when they walk in, so many of them with their heads down and they're nervous and they're anxious and unsure of themselves. And there is a transformation. There's a switch throughout the week by the time we get to that last day. And it's so cool. And I'm so glad you got to experience the result of that program.
Oh, you can feel it when you walk in that room. When they're in that room, boy, you can feel the energy and the excitement. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's. I love my job. I love what we do. I hope everybody gets to experience it.
Well, I know that for all of our Crown Council members, if they go to their directory, and in their directory, there's a portal for resource partners. And if you just go in there and search for Eagle U, you'll have all of Taylor's contact information. But Taylor, tell us, let's make sure that everybody knows how to get a hold of you and how to learn more about the program.
Yeah, you can also just go to our website. It's www.eagleuniversity.org. There's a great video right on our homepage that I really encourage everybody to watch. It's 5 minutes that does a great job of highlighting our program. And then my personal email address is just Taylor, Taylor, @eagleuniversity.org as well. So they can email me, get on our website. Our phone number is on there, and they can contact me anytime.
Are there still openings for Eagle U for this year?
Yes, we are almost full, but yes, we are still taking students. So if you're interested, let me know ASAP. We'll save them a spot, get you a flight booked, and take care of you.
What are the dates this year?
July 18th through the 22nd, and it'll be at Baker University in Baldwin City, Kansas, which is about 30 minutes outside of Kansas City.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Spencer, did you have any other questions? I think I kind of interrupted you.
No, you didn't. You're great, Jack. Taylor and I work closely together. So to also mention this, she's just a fantastic resource partner to the Crown Council. And as Jack mentioned, get to know her and the organization by going to her site or our site. And we just say thank you to you, Taylor, for being a great resource partner.
Thank you, guys. And last thing I'll say is, even if you don't want to send your kids, we've got free resources that I can always send to you, 21 study tips for better grades, how to find the career of your choice, how to get into the college of your dreams. And we've got these great things that we can always provide to you as well, if you're not interested in coming to the full program.
Great. We'll make sure that that those links to those resources. In fact, later today, either Spencer or I will reach out to you, and we'll make sure that we have links to those resources so that people can easily access them. So
wonderful. Awesome.
Thanks,
well,
Taylor.
Thank you guys
we
so
really
much.
appreciate it. Yeah, good to see you again.
You too.
Thanks,
Take
Taylor.
Care.
Bye.
Spencer, did you say that you've been to an Eagle U event?
Planning on it this year with both of my daughters, age 16 and 18, and I hope to just work in the background and help do all of the help with the logistics and act like I'm not a parent to my two daughters who I'll be cheering for that they're learning. So.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. But have you actually, if they go this year, will you go and see them? What do they do? Do parents come the last day and see them, or what?
Not the parents don't go.
Yeah, I didn't see many parents there when I was there.
No, my role would simply be, like I mentioned, in the background, helping with the operations that Steve and Pam tell me to do. I would purely be hands off in the background.
Yeah.
Not even like a chaperone at a high school dance. I would be in the back. Yeah. But I have really wanted them to go last year, and it didn't work out. Planning on this year. So
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I still had that age kids at home, boy, I'd make sure that they went. It was a great thing. I was so impressed. So, yeah. Well, our third guest today is none other than our good friend and grand poobah, the head honcho of all things Crown Council, Dr. Greg Anderson. Are you in the wings, Dr. Greg Anderson?
Yeah, there he comes.
He's coming. Can you hear us, Dr. Greg Anderson?
There we go.
There he is.
Hang on.
Hi, Greg.
Trying to get the video on.
Yeah, we want to see your bright, smiling face,
That's right.
There we go.
He is. How you doing, sir?
I am outstanding today. How about you guys?
Doing great.
Great. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
That's right.
Yes. I understand that's more of an American holiday.
It's a good excuse to make some great Mexican food for dinner.
Indeed.
Yes. Yes.
Well, we're thankful that you have a few minutes to spend with us, Greg. We've had some questions this week on the chat, and with some of our members who are new or newer to Crown Council and to Smiles for Life. And we asked you to come on, and you can talk about anything that your heart's desire, of course. But one thing that we do want you to talk about for a couple of minutes is give people a little overview on the foundation and how is all the money that we've been raising for 20 plus years now for children's charities. How is it used? Who benefits from it? Just give us a feeling about that.
Yeah, maybe a little history would be helpful.
Great.
When Smiles for Life was in its infancy, the very first year, it came from something Jeff Gray was doing in his office, and he was whitening teeth and giving all of the money that he raised from that to the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And he called us up and said, "Hey, why doesn't everybody do this?" And we thought, well, that would be a great idea. And we actually, the short story of that is that we called St. Jude's and asked them if we could do that. And they said we could do it, but we couldn't use their name because they didn't believe we could really do it. We announced the Smiles for Life campaign with the very generous help of, at the time, Discus Dental, who provided us some whitening material without cost, which Ultradent does so generously now. But we sent it out to the membership, and in the next 90 days, we had generated $1.5 million in contributions. And so we just mailed that to St. Jude's. And it was amazing how fast they called us back. But that was the beginning. And over the next year, in consultation with many of our great Crown Council members, it was determined that they really wanted a say in how the money that was being raised by Smiles for Life was spent. And so we determined that every practice that raises money for Smiles for Life can pick a local charity partner that receives 50% of the money that is raised. And at the end of the campaign, we total it all up. We send a check in the name of that charity to the doctor. And with the team, they go, and the plan is to then present that to the local charity. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that in a minute, but you should know that over the last 25 years, the Smiles for Life Foundation has contributed money to over 800 individual children's charities, which is amazing. Some of them substantial sums of money.
Yes.
Many ask, where's the other 50% go? And that goes to initiatives that we contribute to together. Some of them are our humanitarian projects. So we have a partner in Choice Humanitarian that helps us with our base of operation in Guatemala, and with Esperanza International that we have had a relationship with in the Dominican Republic for the last, since 2006, 2007. So however long that is, 15 years. And one of the questions that is asked often is, how can my Smiles for Life money help me with a humanitarian project? And the answer to that is that you can choose the humanitarian fund as your local charity partner, which then allows you to use those funds when within 2 years, if you can do that within a 2-year period, to participate in a humanitarian trip with the Crown Council and other Smiles for Life participants. So it's a great way to get your patients involved in doing good in a lot of really great ways. We have a very long-standing relationship with the Garth Brooks Teammates for Kids Foundation. That partnership began in 1999, and we have a lot of projects we have done with them over the years. The current project we have been working on for the last 5 or 6 years is the building and maintenance of child life zones in hospitals around the country. So we have 15 child life zones currently in operation. And a child life zone, if you've never seen one, is a place, it's a play zone run by child life specialists. Doctors can't go in there, and it's a place to give inpatients in the hospital and their families a place where they can congregate to get their minds off the medicine that is going on. And I can tell you that there are some very special experiences that have happened inside these zones. We're just now completing one at UCLA and also at Joe DiMaggio Hospital in Florida. And those are being billed at 1 or 2 a year. And our part of that generally is the support of the child life specialists that are inside of the zones. And we do a big meeting for them every year, kind of like the annual event of child life specialists, and have enjoyed doing that for a long time.
That's neat.
We also are involved in a new project that we've started this year with Special Olympics, where we we call it Adopt an Athlete, where we pair Special Olympics athletes with our Crown Council members, and they provide them with a limited amount of free service. We have found that that is one of the access to care is important, and this is an extremely underserved part of the population. And you can just see in your mind's eye a Special Olympics athlete coming into your practice, wearing his or her medals in whatever uniform they're wearing for their sport, and walking down the hall to the treatment room with all of the team members in the practice standing in the hallway applauding as they walk down to the treatment room. Very special experience, and provides more than just fixing the teeth.
Yeah.
And we say that a lot with our humanitarian trips, that we do a lot of work on teeth, but frankly, it's not about the teeth. It's about the experience.
And the thing that I've noticed in Smiles for Life practices, having worked with them for many years, is there is an intangible, difficult to describe feeling that overtakes and becomes part of practices when they're involved in a charity effort. I mean, I don't know how you can explain it other than to feel it. It reminds me of, I think it was Winston Churchill that said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And that feeling, when it comes into a practice, I mean, it changes things.
Well, we say here, we're not in the humanitarian business. We are not in the Adopt an Athlete business. We are not in the Smiles for Life business. We are in the culture business. And we are, we create as a community things that build the culture of the practice and the culture of the Crown Council community. And I agree with you, Jack. People that are about doing good have a different attitude. When you're around them and you get a lot of them together that do good, it changes the culture of your day, what happens during the day.
Absolutely.
Maybe I could address just a little bit about local charities.
Yeah, would you?
It's a science, in my opinion. Picking a good charity partner is good. What we discourage is just picking one that you've heard about that may need some help. My suggestion is that you form a committee of people in your practice to decide on who the charity partner ought to be. And I would suggest you interview your charity partners. It helps if you've got someone in the practice who has a passion for the cause of the charity. I mean, that's a critical element, but not a necessity. But that you interview the charities to find out first what their need is and how much money you're planning to raise and how that might be able to help them with their need. But keep in mind that one of the real important parts of the Smiles for Life campaign is generating new patients in the practice. And one of the great generators of those new patients is your local charity, who will then go out to their constituents and tell them that they are doing whitening in your practice, or with trays, same, and that 50% of the money that is raised goes directly to this charity. And would you please go see Dr. Smith and get your teeth whitened? And that's a win-win. They get the money. The Crown Council doctor gets a new patient. And of course, once they arrive in the office, the training of how to keep them as a patient in the practice would then kick in.
Yeah.
I think having that be a thoughtful process, and I think it needs to be a thoughtful process every year, that you don't do the same one you did last year just because you did it last year.
Yeah, right.
You need to have an annual get together with the charity. And, that can be, I can tell you, there's no better time to ask for stuff than when you're handing them money. And because we send the money to the doctor goes and you have a party when you present the check. I can tell you that that's the time when you want to be talking about what you can do for them next year and how their circumstances might have changed, but more importantly, what they can do to be helpful to you.
Yeah. Well, the neat thing we hear often many Crown Council practices say is that the neat thing about you guys is you've created a turnkey program. You don't have to create this thing from scratch. You have the momentum of 25 years of experience, and you just have to it's very simple to do. It's turnkey. And I think that's why so many practices that we've talked to lately, and we've interviewed a few on this live stream over the last 6 weeks, and to every single one of them have said, one of the reasons we do it is because it's easy to do.
And it is.
Yeah.
I get asked all the time, if I want to be successful in my practice doing Smiles for Life, how do I do that? I would tell you that there are 7 things I would do. Not very hard, but number 1, I would start early to pick my charity partner, interview them, discuss with them their needs, and get them on board early in the process. Second thing I would do is I would ask my charity partner what they can do to help you help them. Third thing I would do is I would look in my general business area and find businesses that you believe can cross-fertilize teeth whitening, spas, gyms, those kind of things where you can get them to refer people over who are already in the exercise or beauty business. They'll let you put up, posters, which we prepare and send out, and get them involved in helping you help your local charity. Fourth thing, I would meet early with any friends you have that are part of the media. Even if you can pick a local reporter, offer to whiten their teeth for free, have them write a story about what the experience was like to get their teeth whitened. Many people don't know the difference between professionally getting your teeth whitened and Crest white strips.
Right.
Explain the process to them, and that it goes for a good cause. As we often say, when it comes to this, a lot of people make their decision based on emotion and justify it with logic. And sometimes they've always wanted to get their teeth whitened, but they need an excuse. This is one.
Yeah.
Fifth thing, I would look around for any social media influencers who might be able to help you talk about the Smiles for Life program on social media. And And when I say influencers, I also would include the members of your team. Every person, we are told, the average number of friends on social media is about 250 that you would have influence over. If you have 10 people in your practice and each of them posted what you were doing about Smiles for Life to their own social media pages, all of a sudden you've got 2,500 people who you've helped get eyes on what you're doing just within the walls of your practice.
Yeah, that's a really important point. I think sometimes when we say the word social media influencers, you think about those people that have millions and millions of followers, but that is not necessary. Our spheres of influence, especially for a local business, which a dental practice is, our spheres of influence are very, very small, but very powerful. And it's a great point.
Number 6 on my list, something we learned from our friends at Mortensen Family Dental, is find someone you would call a charity champion in your practice. This is not the doctor. Do not let the doctor do this. This is a team member who is willing to be the go-to person in the practice, to be the motor of the practice for doing good. And if you were to go into a practice and say, who would be the person in the practice who would be most beneficial to us, the best person to do good, there's always one person that comes to mind. And they're always the one that helps make it successful. And finally, the 7th one is ask everyone who comes into the front door of the practice if they want to be part of the Smiles for Life campaign in some way. We have lots of ways to be involved. Get your teeth whitened, get your teeth straightened, an outright donation, and then ask them to tell their friends. Those aren't very complicated, easy to do, but we have found that those that are most successful do those 7 things.
So good.
Hey, Greg, for Ben, that's great. For the benefit of some people that may be new, explain the timeline a little bit, because officially, quote unquote, the whitening campaign, which is only, of course, one component of the Smiles for Life Foundation, but the whitening campaign typically runs March through June. Is that correct?
Yeah. And so when we talk about timing, the actual whitening campaigns runs the 1st of March through the end of June. However, we collect money through the end of July. That is, there are a lot of practices who will get the whitening from Ultradent, have appointments set, not be able to get them all done in June. But the cutoff date for contributions to the local charities is the 1st of August. We spend the month of August getting things reconciled around here. All of us in the Crown Council office are donating our time, just like you donate your time in a dental practice. So we spend the time in August getting that reconciled. By the 1st of September, we are sending checks out to the practices to donate to the charities. By the end of September, you ought to be back in the process of having a conversation with your local charity about who the local charity is going to be for next year, and planning all of those things I just talked about, so that by January, you are ready to go. All your plans are made between the 1st of September and the end of December. And coming January, you are in execution mode, so that by the 1st of March, you're ready to start whitening. Now, the trays campaign, the teeth straightening, that goes on year round.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the whitening part of that, Smiles for Life has become really a year-round project to people who do it seriously. And that includes like ordering your whitening materials from Ultradent that we handle through here, and getting the marketing boxes out that we send out. This last year, we sent them out in December so that we could get a little more of a head start, but December, January, those boxes go out. And everybody always says, how come the first week that the campaign kicks off, we've already raised $250,000? And it's because people are kind of banking and getting ready. And so a lot of it comes in early. On an average year, as a group, we will raise between $1.5 million and $2 million. We have raised actually, as of this week, we will have raised over $47 million as a group. But
Yeah.
it's just, it's just
crazy.
heartwarming.
I know, it's great. It's great.
And, we're kind of banging on the door of 50 million, which is, we hope to get real close to that this year. But
yeah. Well, and lately we've been reminding the Crown Council membership that the difference between the Smiles for Life Foundation and the Smiles for Life Whitening Campaign. Greg, you just went through the timeline for the whitening campaign, but keep in mind, you mentioned Adopt an Athlete, which goes year round. You mentioned the Trays Aligner portion of Smiles for Life Foundation that goes year round. So there are other things. There's the humanitarian trips, which are happening, outside of that window. So remember that you have two portals in your crowncouncil.com account. One is the whitening portal, but the other is just called Smiles for Life Foundation. So go there. We even have the Rivers of Hope, which is the trout fishing thing that Dr. Tyre heads up. That's a Smiles for Life Foundation project. So,
and during the whitening campaign, we publish every week every dollar that was raised. And hats off to Ed White, that you had on earlier today, who's the top non-group practice raising money for Smiles for Life. There's a guy that, he's raised hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for Smiles for Life. And talk about a guy who is about doing good in all parts of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is. He is. Well, thanks, Greg, for that overview. I think this will really help. What we're going to do, we recognize that not a lot of our membership is able to watch this live like we're doing right now. So what we do is we take that content over the next week or so, and we're going to divide that into little snippets that we can put in various places so that Crown Council members can remind themselves and become more familiar. Plus, it gives us an opportunity to recruit more practices to do good in the world. So thanks for spending the time. And Spencer, were there any other questions on our list for Greg? I think he covered most of them.
Yeah, so well covered. Thanks, Greg. Great to review all the above.
I'll click off. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it, Greg. Take care. It's so fun. No matter how many times we talk about Smiles for Life, it just gives you a warm fuzzy when you think about, all the kids that have been helped and all the good that we're doing for the world. So
it does. It's fun to also see all the different angles of which are that pour into Smiles for Life too. So many ways to be involved.
Yeah. Well, Spencer, I think we're at the end of our guests. And was there any other words of wisdom or any other thing we needed to cover today before we sign off?
Man, no other words of wisdom from me, Jack, but just thanks to our viewers and Crown Council members, and looking forward to a good month of May. Happy Mother's Day this weekend to all.
Yeah, I agree. And if you're ever wondering what's coming up with the Crown Council, always go to your account. If you haven't created an account yet, go to crowncouncil.com and sign up. And if you're a full Crown Council member, we'll upgrade your account to premium membership, which gives you access to additional resources. But you can always go to your premium hub or your basic member hub, and there's a calendar there. And you can click on any of the events coming up. In fact, I mentioned that Steve Anderson and Stuart are in a webinar right as we're speaking. I think it's, I don't remember, is it a mark? It's something having to do with Smiles for Life.
Dental.
Yeah, roadside sponsoring it, isn't it? So don't miss those things. Go to the calendar. They're all there, and just click on them. It gives you a direct link so that you can stay involved with all the things the membership's doing. So,
yeah, great.
All right, sir. Well, I'm going to go make tacos for dinner tonight.
That's right. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in and co-hosting with me, Spencer. It's always good to see you.
Yep. Pleasure, Jack. See you, everybody.
See you next time. Bye-bye.